So welcome to Let's Talk Cars. Let's talk about this Prodrive P25. Had lots of messages, lots of DMs, looked at ordering one myself, and I just want to give you my own view on the car. Had many Subarus, as you know if you follow the channel, McRae series, RB5, Terzo, P1, 22b, and we've obviously got the world car as well. So it's a really, really interesting car. But I'm going to give you 5 takeaways and my view on this P25. Now, the first one, really controversial, but was it the right car? And what I mean by that is, should it have been a 1995 Colin McRae winning car, a replica of that car? I think that may have been the best way to go, but I do love the 1999 and 97 car because the proportions were fantastic, and obviously with the big arches, so it's really difficult. But I probably would have gone for Colin's car, the 1995, but we'll go on a bit more about that because it might just be about the chassis. The second one is, when I was at Goodwood looking at the car, I know it's blue and grey and Subaru should be blue, but should this be a different colour? I think it could have been like a ceramic grey with gold wheels, or just slightly different, because it felt like I'm just looking at a P1, if I'm honest. And because the front vents were the same as a P1, I thought, am I looking at a P1? Is it? And I think that maybe has taken away a bit around value and people thinking how much the car was, because obviously it is a lot of money, which we'll go into, but maybe it could have been different. So maybe I'll bring up some images of maybe a ceramic grey with gold wheel car, see what you think. But the colour was the other thing. Should it have been something different? If Prodrive are going to become like a Singer for this car and produce these cars like, Singer have done with Porsche, maybe it should have been a different colour or a choice of colour. The third takeaway is the price. Now, this has got very interesting, because I had an email from Prodrive a couple of days ago. Now, when I first tried to order the car, they said it was 552,000 or 460 plus VAT and a deposit of 250k. Now, the deposit just put me off, because I just thought, I'm paying a deposit for a car. I'm not sure what the spec is, how it's going to be, but Prodrive are renowned as being the best sort of specialist for Subaru. They've run the World Rally teams. They've made many other cars. But I just thought, is the 250 to me just how much the car's going to build and the rest is profit? Because I couldn't see where the value was. But now I've had an email back to say, you're on a waiting list, or do you want to go on a waiting list? And we'll make a car for you from 250k upwards to 552. So I'm just not sure if this car's been rushed out a bit quick and no one really understands what's going on pricing wise. I don't really understand it, and I still can't get a grip on what I'm actually buying, because when someone says you can have whatever you want, it's very difficult then. I'd rather just have some choices on specs and what I'm going to get, and is it manual, is it sequential. But I know that everyone would love to just spec a car, but I could see it maybe running away. Like I was seeing that roll cage, and it's only a half roll cage, is optional. If this is an extremely quick car, you might want it for hill racing, these type of things. You'd want that probably included. So some of these cars might even push 600k. The fourth takeaway was, how are Prodrive going to do this? And obviously the cars are going to be second hand, because they've said they've bought loads of STI 5s or 6 shells, and then are going to remake the car. But obviously that'll have a logbook. You could be the 9th or 10th owner. It's not like it's a new car, because it's obviously a second-hand car and then you're converting it back. But again, that's what Singer do. A lot of specialists do that anyway. Is that going to affect it? Not so sure, but it did feel like a bit, you're just taking a second-hand car, doing it up. And when you look at the values, you've got to try and think in your mind, 552,000 from, say, a £25,000 car, which is maybe less than that when they bought them an STI 5, STI 6. So that's to take in consideration, and I'm not sure that's really documented anywhere in Prodrive's sort of documents and the things that I've seen. So it's people just being aware you are buying a second-hand car that is then going to be made into this car. It's not like it's a new body shell. The other thing is the engine. Now, 2.5 is going to lose that flat 4 burble. So it's another thing to consider when you're looking at it. I thought the whole thing of the Subaru is the noise, and that flat 4 engine and the 2 litre. So to go to 2.5 is going to now take that away. So that was something that I think affected my decision on the P25. And the fifth takeaway is obviously, would I have one? Now, when they first come out, I was just so excited. I thought, right, this is a Prodrive world rally car for the road. This could be amazing. And then, I was keen to contact them straight away, and I said I had a WRC, I had 2 22bs, I'd really be interested. But I think for me the price is too much. But obviously, knowing that you can get a lower spec now, which I didn't know before, maybe there is value there. Obviously, if you're only spending, say, 250, 300, maybe there's good value there. But it brings into question like a 22b now, because I went out after Goodwood, I went straight back out in the 22b. And it's absolutely fantastic on the road, and I love to drive that car. And I was trying to think, well, what more do I want? Now, the only thing I could probably think I would want from it is if I wanted a more raw experience, then I would go like full roll cage, make it like a hill climb car, carbon bucket seats, just make it like a hill climb car, like a real race car for the road. Now, when the one was at Goodwood, it's just normal seats from a 1996 Subaru Impreza and just Alcantara everywhere. And it just made me think, either they've just rushed this out, or what are the other options? This isn't good enough, really. And as I say, I think that for me, the whole thing of Subaru is sound, and I think that's going to go a little bit. I know they can maybe bring that back with anti-lag and different stuff, but even the world cars, when they stepped up from Group A, the sound was different because of the headers. But now you're going to do a 2.5 litre engine. I think that's going to hinder it. So they're my sort of key takeaways. No, I haven't ordered one. I'm not going to get one. I know there is a company making 8 Group A sort of replica Colin McRae ones. That might be something that interests me, or maybe creating my own CTR version. But at the moment, I think that the way it's come out, I say I don't really understand the pricing still and what they're actually creating. And it just feels a bit like we've gone, right, let's find 25 people with quite a bit of money, and then we just make it up as we go along, and there may not be a limit on the car, and we'll do whatever you want. So it may end up being sort of like a Singer version of Prodrive, which I don't mind, but as long as you know at the start that's how it is. And yeah, it may be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to drive one, and I'm sure a few people who get one, I'll be able to see one and maybe go into one soon. But it's not for me at the moment. So that's my update on the P25. I hope you enjoyed that, and speak to you soon.